Brothers and sisters, I would now like to invite our Sheik Mohammed Cheppih to deliver his talk.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we were talking, Sheikh, in the beginning of the day, he was talking about unity, and I see people spread. That means that proves already that there is no unity. So it'd be good if you come together and, a bit in front. Sisters, mashallah, already giving the good example. As usual. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'ina wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawm al-din. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his companions, their followers until the day of judgment. My brothers and sisters, I do understand that at the end of the day, after listening to my dear brothers, respected brothers, that you may not have too much patience to listen to too much words. I'm going to try to summarize as much as I can and to try to be engaging as much as I can in order. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's not about how many words you say, it's about what you say. And the subject of today, under the umbrella of the unity of the Ummah, is quite interesting because it's about parents. And some may ask, what has this to do with that? What has the respect for parents to do with the unity of Ummah or of the Ummah? We'll look into that, inshallah. The question of the subject is, do I need to respect my parents, right? It's a question with a question mark. Do I need to respect my parents? That's a question we'll try to answer. I could tell you yes or no, but I want you to come to that conclusion yourself. It's very easy to tell you, what, of course you should respect them, right? I want you to conclude why. First of all, would you be here today without your parents? Would that be possible? Would you exist? You wouldn't. So your existence is, first of all, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then to your parents. So if they were not the reason that you could have been here, you could have been listening to me, look at me, etc. Minimum. I heard people saying, I didn't tell them to bring me. Right? It wasn't my choice. They didn't negotiate with me. So it's their problem, not mine. Some people say that. Right? And that's an interesting one. Because if we would park that one, right? Because you're here. That's something you can't, if you don't want to be here, that's up to you, but you can't put it back. So you're here. And the minimum, if we say already that your parents, my parents, our parents are responsible for our existence, minimum, they are responsible for more than that. Funny thing is that in reality, it seems that we forget that. I'll give you an example. Suppose you'll cost your parents $10 a day. Is that reasonable? Yes? As a father? Is that reasonable? So food, clothes, just average, $10, right? A day. That's $3,650 a year. Suppose your father, mother, parents come at the age of 18, when you become, independent by law, and give you an invoice. Right? $74,600, around $80,000, tell you, okay baby, you can pay now. For the works I've been doing for you. Would that be reasonable? What would you say if they would do that? What would you say as a child? Would you be able to give that to them at that moment? Or not? You'll have to work for it, right? $80,000 saving. From your age, let's say 18, right? How many time will we have, you'll need for that to get that together? As an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Isra, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Allah has ordered that we worship no one than him, right? Directly after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So he puts being good for parents directly after worshipping him. Imagine, the position. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala worship, and then comes directly after that, your parents. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us in Hadith al-Bukhari about Jurayj. Have you ever heard of Jurayj? No? Jurayj was one of the sons of Israel. He used to live, it's Hadith al-Bukhari. That Jurayj his mom used to come. He was a pious worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of these days, he was praying his recommended prayer, like we would pray nafila, right? And she would come, and she would call him. And he would be in a situation, I'm praying right now. What should I do? Pray? Or stop my prayer and go to my mom? What would you do? Who says I'll go to my mom and stop my prayer? Raise your hand. Who says I'll finish my prayer then go to my mom? Nafila, yeah. I saw 10% of people engaging. I want everybody's answer. There's no third choice. It's either yes or no. So who says, I'll stop my prayer and I'll go to my mom? Are you serious? And who says, I won't stop my prayer and after I finish prayer, I go to my mom? That's slightly not really clear whether it's the majority or not. You see, we are hesitating, right? We don't know, correct? Same situation with Jurayj. Following day, the mom came again. Same situation happened. He refused to stop, and he prayed, and she left. The third day, the same thing happened. So 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, the same situation occurred, and she would go, she would leave before he would help her. Just listen to this properly. On the third day, what did she say? She cursed him. He was a pious worshipper of Allah. She cursed him and she said, may you, and freely translated, may you look into the faces of a prostitute. Literally. She cursed him. I mean, he would never have any way that he could, in any form, be in contact with women, let alone a prostitute. We'll see later on in the hadith that he was amongst their three babies who spoke in our history. The 3 babies who spoke. One baby has to do, Rasulullah tells us in Bukhari, Isa was one of them, right? In the story of Jurayj, there was another baby who spoke. Because what happened, a woman, a prostitute, told the people of Banu Israel, you know what? She said, I'll make sure, I'll bring him into trouble. So she did whatever she wanted. She was pregnant. She went to the people and she said, look, he raped me. And I'm carrying his son. What they do, they went and broke down, his minaret and everything and look at the curse of the mom. After he was born, he said, bring the baby to me. The baby was born from the prostitute. The baby came and he said, who's your father? The baby spoke. Allah made him speak. And he said, my father is a shepherd, this and that. So it's not you. But the curse of the mom came out. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when a man came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, allow me to go on jihad, to fight, right? In this case, a matter of to go to engage in a battle. What did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say? Do you have parents? He said, yes. He said, then go back to them. وَفِيهِمَا فَجَاهِدْ. And go make jihad in them, for them. In the meaning of the hadith. The question is, I may give a lot of examples and you may agree, all of you, with me, that this is how it's supposed to be, right? In theory. In practice, it ain't happening. Today I saw a post which I found very interesting, and it sort of translates how we react as children, adults, on our moms in this case. At 6 years, what do we say? Mommy, I love you, right? Kids do that, right? Yeah. At 10 years, what does a kid say at 10 years? Mom, whatever. It's like, she goes beyond my league, right? She's disturbing me. 16 years, teenager. Mom, you're so annoying. Right? 18 years, when I get parents, mom, when I get rid of this. I was 18 when I went to university. Allah is my witness. That was happy to cross the border, to go on a flight, and no parental control. I was like, I'm gonna be free. It's like we're in prison or something, right? When you turn 25, Mom, you were right. When you turn 30, I want to go to Mom's house. Seems like it didn't work out with your wife or something, that you want to go back to your mom, right? 50 years, I don't want to lose my mom. She became very important. 70 years, I would give up everything for my mom to be here. Right or wrong? Recognize that?
Right, maybe. Maybe.
What happens here, and then we approach it from an emotional perspective, or from a psychological perspective. See, interesting part about mom's love. Interesting part about mom's love, that's unconditional. Your mom doesn't love you because she wants something from you. That's why when a man came to Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, to Umar radiallahu anhu, and he said, Ya Umar, I have been making tawaf with my mom on my back, right? And I made hajj with her, in the meaning of the hadith. He asked this question, did I repay her? Look at this question. She was old and she couldn't walk and that kind of stuff, and she was a burden, right? He said, Ya Umar, did I repay her? What was the answer? Yes or no? Yes or no? Why? He said the difference is because she carried you and you are carrying her. Right? The difference is you are carrying her. Let me take opposite. She was carrying you with all the burden and whatever was going on, whatever you did to her, whatever you gave her trouble, whatever you made her nights and let her not sleep, etc. And she carried you, etc. But all that she did, and she did not feel it's a burden. She did that happily, that she was doing that and hoping for you to grow, become happy, and she wished that she would never have to let you go. Right? He said, but you are carrying her while you have the emotion in your heart that you wish that she would die. Right or wrong? How many people have parents who are on a certain age? Those who live in the West, we have something called what? Elderly homes, right? What is an elderly home? What do you do in an elderly home? Suppose exactly the same concept your parents would have done with you. They reach an age which they couldn't take care of themselves, right? And then you say, Mom, Dad, time to go to, put you in a room and whatever and drop them down, correct? Imagine your parents would have done the same when you were born, like, you can't take care of yourself, son, daughter, let me put you in, in a whatever residence, and I'll pick you up when you are 2 or 3. Same situation. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran al-Kareem. That's why, my brothers and sisters, see, relation, child, parents, through history, has a very important impact on a human being's life. Whether religious, non-religious, that's human beings, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as believers, as the one who gave us a concept of how to live our lives, has taught us how to behave and how to treat our parents. And you know, I find it fascinating. When you go deeper into the meaning of the ayat, you come to conclusions, wallahi al-azim, you wouldn't even imagine that these conclusions are true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran al-Kareem, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering us in Surah Luqman how we should take care, that we should take care of our parents, and it says in the Quran al-Kareem. And why would you have to? Because she, in this case, told about, he said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. We ordered the man or the human being about his parents. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started talking about your mom. Right? And then he says, عَزَّ وَجَلْ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. She was carrying him in difficulty and in pain. See, try as an adult, and especially as a mom who went through the same experience. My mom always used to tell me, son, you'll never understand what is it that I feel until you become a parent. Right? And even a step further, we as men, as fathers, we only get a slight of that understanding. Maybe 0.0001%. While the women and the mothers, they get like 99.9%. Because they go through, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected her specifically in many occasions, especially in this ayah. حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. In 2 years, from the moment she became pregnant, from the moment she felt she was pregnant, the illness she goes through, the difficulty, and that's why, you know, as a counselor, when you see couples who clash, a man will never understand what a woman goes through in pregnancy. Man think, women gets crazy or something, right? Because she gets this attitude and she wants fruit and she wants impossible things and she wants impossible sweets, and the man thinks seriously that she wants to make his life impossible. And a lot of men, they say, exaggerate. Why do you think it's not allowed to have a divorce during pregnancy? Why? Because you can't get it through, you can't understand. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says later on, وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْكَ إِلَيَّ الْمَصِيرُ. Thank me, and after thank your parents, to me is your return. But listen to this one. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي. Talking about respect. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if they invite you, not only invite you, if they make, in the word jihad on you, if they do the impossible to make you worship somebody else than Allah. So if your parents do the impossible to make you a mushrik, what should be your answer? He does not say, if they treat you well, if they nurture you well, if they feed you, they send you to school, to high school, marry you, whatever, buy a car for you. No. He says, if they, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the other extreme. Because, of course you should respect and take care of them if they take good care of you, even if they're not your parents, right? Even if they're not your parents, if somebody takes good care of you, in the situation that you can't take care of yourself, the minimum you would do, respect them, right? That person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not talk about that. You should understand that. No, He talks about if they would do the impossible to lead you astray. What should be your answer? What? Hit them? Kick them out of the house? Shout at them? How many examples? I heard, you may have heard, I'm not talking about stories. The son who knocked out his dad because he came home drunk, for example. It happened to Sheikh Kishka, rahmatullah, a well-known da'iyah from Egypt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on his soul. One of his lectures, he took the whole lecture about an example happened, to somebody he knew, who actually pushed his mom from the roof of the house and killed her because he got annoyed. He couldn't handle the stress. These are extremes. So what should you do with your parents if they treat you like that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if they reach to the extreme of annoying you, of making your life possible, and if they would want to invite you to worship somebody else than me, still respect them and be good to them. It doesn't matter whether they're Muslim, non-Muslim, Yehudi, whatever they are, it doesn't matter. They're your parents. Why? Because they're your parents. The reason of your existence, remember? The ones who took care of you. The ones who were there for you, unconditionally. And this understanding, my brothers and sisters, goes beyond, this ayah goes beyond any, forget about everything else. Because sometimes we think that we only should take good care of their parents if they are exemplary, right? If they are pious, if they are good, and if they make mistakes, we should warn them, advise them continuously, and speak loudly to them. And how many people make their parents kafir? I know an example very near, not even far away. Actually, my uncle, one of my uncles, when he became very active and he was very active in a certain group, and he started believing in takfir to everybody, he made his own dad kafir. While the opposite side around, we have role models who gave us the example, beginning from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, up to all the Sahaba and the sons of the Sahaba, notes and everything, how you should be with your parents. And that should be the minimum of because my brothers and sisters, reality is, and I'll try to talk about that more even deeper, reality is, we as Muslims are very good in theory. We read, we memorize, a dictionary, and I know Bukhari and Muslim and Al-Quran, whatever it may be, but what about practice? What about practice? My brothers and sisters, the different forms of worship like prayer and fasting are not an end goal on themselves. They are a tool to become pious. They are a wake-up call, a reminder. You should pray in order to become pious. So this prayer should lead you to stand still, to think about yourself. Am I taking good care of my parents? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The man who came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, advise me, give me advice. What did he answer? Your mom. And then he asked advice again. And the answer of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was again, your mom. And then again he asked for an advice, said, Ya Rasulullah, advise me. He said, your mom. Number 3. And then he said, Ya Rasulullah, advise me again. And then he said, your dad. How important is that? How important. And reality is, my brothers and sisters, as I mentioned earlier, reality is that how you treat your parents, that's the way you'll be treated by your children. Wallahi, thumma wallahi, whatever example I come across, when it concerns parents who have issues with their children, ask them the question, how were you with your parents? Ask them that same question. In Europe, we have a huge, and I know in Australia as well, we have a huge problem between parents and children. A huge gap. We think, many of our cultures, we think that nurturing our children means what? Means feed them and clothe them and send them to school. That's it. You do that with animals, maybe. You do that with fruits. And even animals, they need some love and respect and that kind of stuff, right? I look at you. Sam? Even animals, right? Gypsy, I was thinking of Gypsy. So children have to be nurtured. Their soul has to be nurtured. Like you as an adult have to nurture your soul. When you nurture your soul, when you purify your soul and you're successful, it's impossible that you treat your parents other than good. So my brothers and sisters, whatever you invest, that will be your return. But reality is, as parents, what we do, we don't invest in our children as much as we could. And when they turn against us, we say, look, he doesn't obey me. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't talk to me. When did you talk to him? When were you there for him? When were you his friend? Right? When were you the one who was it? Would he come to you? We speak, we do a lot of, in my work in the field of social issues, we do a lot of gatherings with parents and fathers, and we just did recently a communication gathering with fathers and sons. A disaster. Fathers say nowadays, we don't even eat with our children. We don't know about what's going through with them, their pain and emotions, and because they don't share these things with us. In another hadith we read that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in a hadith Qudsi that when your mom passes away, the reason of the mercy of Allah upon you is gone. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in another hadith, رَغِمَ أَنْفُ مْرِئٍ, you're lost if you have been living with your parents and they died without being present with you. You're a loser. Because you got a chance, a bonus, to take care of them and to have every reason that they're pleased with you. And if they're pleased with you, you have no other destination than paradise, and you did not catch that chance, you're a loser. That's the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Lived with his parents and they were not a reason for him to enter paradise. Where is it? Is it true? I hear a lot of children say, our parents ask the impossible from us. See, if we want to explain the ayah which we listened to earlier, there is a communication art as well, communication skill. You could say no by saying yes. So, do you have to clash with your parents when they want something from you which maybe you don't want to do? See, already you have a problem if you think that you should clash. Because look, Allah has made that already clear to us. وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. He already explained to us what we should not do in our form of communication. Let's translate it into our daily life. Fatima, Ahmed, Khadija, I want you to go shopping. Mom, that's free translated. Oof. We may not use the word oof, but we may use other words. Mom, leave me alone. Do you think of what that means? Mom, leave me alone. Imagine, when you were like 3 months old, right? Baby, diaper, all kind of stuff you do in a diaper. That you start shouting and screaming, and your mom said, leave me alone. And she would leave you alone for about 3-4 days. And come back to you in 4 days and clean you. What do you think? As a baby, would you have appreciated that? You scream your hair out, right? You get crazy as a baby. See, babies are born leaders. They know exactly when to scream, when to shout. Leaders in a way that they'll decide for you. That was us when we were babies. They decide for you when you go to sleep and when you don't go to sleep. And dads, fathers, I'm sorry, I'm one myself. When, especially in the first couple of months, we sleep, right? Even the baby shouts, screams. But have you seen the schedule of the mom, how she sleeps? That was me and you when we were kids too, right? Funny part is that when we became an adult, we forgot that totally. It seems that we woke up as an adult. It seems that you woke up with a PhD in your pocket. It seems that you woke up with a driving license. Right? See, if you look at the reason of a lot of youngsters nowadays to end up in criminal behavior, you know what criminal behavior is? Criminal behavior is a screaming of a baby. That's criminal behavior. You want something, you don't get it, you don't get the attention of your parents, you go steal. Right? And I'm not saying this by That's what research has proven, and that's what my work has proven too. All the youngsters I see in prison, inside, when I sit with them, I always find in 90% of the cases that one of the two parents was not present. The worst case scenario, rape, killing, whatever, mom was gone. She passed away or something happened or divorce, whatever you want to call it. See how important it is? So we have to go back to ourselves to understand this importance, to become conscious, to wake up. See, we as human beings live in an automatic pilot. We just do. We just do. We drink, we eat, we sleep. We don't even think about it. Have you ever thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing that you get warm water out of the tap? When you wake up in the morning and you go in a shower? Have you ever thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you don't need a well to get water for? And many of us come from countries where you have to walk miles, right? To get water. Have you ever thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Well, not many times. You know why? Because we're used to it. It became part of our lives. Have you ever thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the car you're driving? No, because you don't feel the blessing of it. You know how you can feel the blessing of it? Leave it here on the parking lot today and go walk home. Only then you'll feel what this car means to you. And that is exactly what you need to do, what I need to do when we talk about respect for parents. We have to understand, to go back to the essence of the existence of our parents. Why they exist. How they existed. What they mean to us. My brothers and sisters, I'll give you an example. I grew up, I was imported from Morocco when I was 3. Right? So I can't, remember much of Morocco. I grew up in Holland, amongst the cows and, chocolate and yogurt and cheese and that kind of stuff. So you get spoiled. Because I already told you that, when you grew up, everything is there. You don't have to think about anything. Meat, chicken, whatever you want to call it, it's all there. Right? Every day in Moroccan cuisine and whatever, we were talking about it and whatever you want to call it. I was never conscious of that. I was never conscious. I never thought about what my dad had to go through in order to reach Holland. I never thought about it that my dad had to sleep under a bridge, even though he was a graduate and a French teacher. He had to sleep under a bridge in order to guarantee for me and my brothers and sisters a better future. I never thought about it. I never thought about it. My dad had to live for about 16 years, and my mom, 16 years without each other in different countries, seeing each other 2 or 3 weeks a year. Why? Never thought about it, to be very honest. I just told you, when I was 18 and I got a chance to go and travel and to live in the Middle East, I was happy. No parents around. It means no control. It means doing your thing. That's what it is. See, when I started becoming conscious is when I did not find them around. You know how long it took me to find out? You know how long it took me? Could you guess? Days, months, years? 24 hours. 24 hours. Arriving in Medina, you have this ideal view, and you expect to meet angels and everything to receive you. You're going to live in a 5-star resort, campus, and university, that kind of stuff. Sheikh Anwar isn't here, so he could have shown me that. And then you arrive there, and then you see exactly the opposite. And then you find yourself nowhere in the desert, you know what I'm saying? Is nobody cooking for you, washing your clothes, and that kind of stuff. And I opened my suitcase, and the first thing I found was the present of my mom. I started crying like a baby. Because only then, even though I was happy for months since I knew that I was going to travel, only then I understood, I'm human. Where are we without our parents? What are we? I know that, whatever you did to your parents, whatever you did to your parents, at the end of the day, you'll go and knock on your mom and she'll hug you and she'll give you peace and rest, right? That's reality. You have to become conscious of that. And therefore, my brothers and sisters, as a conclusion, see, we come from many cultures that when we become adults, it becomes like a shame that you you tell your mom that you love her, right? I remember giving courses in India, for example, when I asked my students, what is the last time you told your parents you love them, they looked at me like, you're nuts or something? I'm an adult, man, you don't say these things in my country. You know, it's like, when was the last time you hugged your, in my culture, for example, usually in our country, your dad, you kiss their head, you kiss their hands, right? In India, I think you kiss their feet. Yes? Is that wrong? Is that wrong or right? Is that wrong? Seriously? I've been talking here for 30 minutes for nothing. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says me and then your parents, what would be wrong in that? I'm not saying that you should bow for them. You only bow for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, in our cultures, we grew up in the West, right? And I don't have anything because I'm a Westerner as well. I have nothing against the West. Because I'm the West too and you're the West too. Australia is the West too, right? Is it the West too? I don't know what Australia actually is. Anyway, it's down under. That's what it was. Down under. So we are the West. Have you seen how people greet their parents? I mean, I can't imagine going to my dad and saying, how are you, Dad? You're right? That's like weird. SubhanAllah. Where's the warmth, the hug, the kiss, asking, this. We feel as men, if I would go and hug my mom, it's like, did you know, listen to this one, by research, did you know that every man, the majority, because many of you would say, no, that in majority, every man, when he wants to get married, he's looking for the sin of his mom. Do you know that? And every woman is looking to the mirror of her dad. Majority. I conclude with this joke. This man got married, right? And his wife was really a good cook. But he was not happy with her cooking. So every day he was complaining. Every day he was complaining. After a couple of weeks, he got sick of that. He said to her, if you don't cook good today, you're divorced. Khalas. Done. She was sad, I don't know why, she didn't like it, etc. And this is, by the way, a joke which is not a lie, but it happened. So this woman, this day, she was so nervous that she burned the food. She burned the potatoes. In Morocco, we cook a lot with potatoes, right? So she burned the potatoes, and she was like, the tagine, she couldn't do it again. So she said, you know what, I'm gone anyway, I have one-way ticket anyway, so khalas, I'm not going to make it again. So he put the food in, and he started, and he was like, this is so good. So he was like, what? What did you just say? He said, this is exactly how my mom used to make it. He was used to a certain kind of food, which for him was the unconditional, cuisine, no disrespect for the mom. But that was his reference. You get it? See how important our parents are for us. My brothers and sisters, Islam teaches us that if our parents are alive, to do everything to make them happy. Nobody's asking for you to spend 24/7 having no life, no other, but put them indeed in that position of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let a day go beside asking for them, hugging them, if they're around you, declaring your love for them, etc. And if they have passed away, if they're not around anymore and have passed away, if you don't have your parents or whatever, in that case you have another responsibility. Make dua for them. Do good for them. Give a sadaqah for them. Remember them in good. Nobody is perfect. There's no parent who's perfect, but be sure that there is no parent on this planet, and I may exaggerate in this situation, but there's no planet, no father or mother in this who intentionally wants to hurt his children. Yeah, they make mistakes like we do, and they have shortcomings, and maybe they did not give us the nurture we need, or but they did their best to the best of their ability and their tools and everything. For that, make dua for them, ask Allah to forgive them, make umrah for them, for example, if you did your umrah, hajj, etc. Do good for them and keep their memory good, because my brothers and sisters, that is indeed the foundation of the ummah. You can't work, and that's Sometimes we forget that. And I mentioned earlier about criminal behavior. We forget that if we're not close with our parents, if we don't have them around us in a way that we acknowledge their existence and that we acknowledge that they're very important for our, you see what happens when parents pass away with their children? When they're around, whatever happens, the children always return, right? Because there's a reason for it. When they pass away, all the children go away. And that's exactly with the Ummah. With our Ummah, we talked about earlier about unity, and my brothers talked about unity. The position and the situation of parents is very important for that, because when we grow up with the idea that we should be together, we'll invest more in the unity of Ummah. We grow up with the idea that we don't care. It's like we're aliens, we don't have parents, we don't have fathers. Then we don't do our best in order to make the best out of it. Jazakumullah khair. Forgive me if I took too much of your time. I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.